This is Dan Dix here, reporting for Press for Truth, and we are less than a month into the legalization of cannabis in Canada here on a federal level. And I must say, all eyes are on this space right now. Whether you are a consumer or a producer or a savvy investor for that matter, everyone is paying attention to what's happening in Canada right now. And in fact, I'm interested on what's happening on the global scene. It seems that there's a movement happening here all around the world when it comes to the legalization of cannabis, whether it be for recreational or medicinal purposes. This is happening on a global level, which brings me to today's guest, which is why I'm excited about having him on today. So let's just jump right into this. Joining me on the line right now is Lucas Birdsall of International Cannabis Corp. intlcannabiscorp.com is the website. Lucas, thank you so much for joining us here today and taking some time to speak with us. I'm really interested to get your perspective on the emerging global cannabis market and how your company has positioned yourselves and how you see this moving forward. But before we get into that, I'd love to get your thoughts, just your initial reaction as to the news that Canada is legalizing cannabis and has just did it, about 3 weeks ago on the federal level. What was your initial reaction to the news that the country of Canada legalized cannabis federally?
Absolutely, Daniel. I mean, first and foremost, I appreciate your time. Thanks for having me on today. As many of your viewers know, on October 17th of 2018, Canada celebrated federal legalization of adult cannabis consumption as well as cultivation. It was definitely a celebration up here, but regrettably, the marketplace did not reflect that. There was quite a speculative premium that was baked into many of the Canadian cannabis assets going back 2 or 3 years now. And, we saw some of that evaporate post-legalization. Now, I do see it as a buying opportunity. I do think that Canada definitely has a long way to go when it comes to ironing out some of the wrinkles, whether it's on the distribution, whether it's on the cultivation side. But all in all, it's exciting. It's a progressive decision. And I think all of us that are involved in the industry definitely celebrated it.
Well, how do you think the Canadian market is comparing to other markets around the world? I know this is fairly new in Europe. It's not so new in Portugal. Certain areas in the United States, various states. How would you say Canada's doing in comparison to some of these other places around the world who are doing this?
It's a great question. At the end of the day, I think Canada is definitely a first mover in this arena. But truly, this is an industry in its infancy. And again, I will reiterate, we are ironing out some of the wrinkles, but traditionally, Canadian cannabis assets do have quite a premium built into them, whether that's an LP, whether that's a dispensary chain, and that premium is due to the fact that there is some consistency in regulation across provincial borders. We kind of have put some sort of cornerstone legislation in place, and when you compare that to the United States of America, you can actually pick up some pretty impressive cannabis assets at a discount, and that's just due to the inconsistency in regulations, whether it's state excise taxes, whether it's the fact that only 9 states at this time have actually accepted recreational adult consumption and cultivation of cannabis. But the true deals, the true undervalued assets, Dan, are in the international jurisdictions. And that kind of brings us to International Cannabis Corp. Our mission, our vision is to become the world's first vertically integrated pure cannabis play. We're hopeful to penetrate every link of the cannabis value chain, whether it's supplying hydroponic equipments, whether it's supplying fertilizers, lighting, ventilation, whether it's actually cultivating cannabis, both recreational as well as medical, whether it's cultivating and harvesting industrial hemp, CBD extraction, and eventually distributing that to the end consumer. Now it's quite a tall order, but the team we have behind us, I think we're up to it. We currently hold a very robust portfolio of cultivation licenses that's in 5 different countries across 3 continents. And I'm sure we can get a little bit more into that later. But that's kind of our mission and our vision and a brief overview.
Yeah, that's huge. Absolutely. And just the fact that you've managed to get into these other markets is really telling to the fact that where this space is, how it's expanding, and in the United States, for example, a lot of people got into the space years ago, and they were positioned at a good time. It seems like right now maybe a good time in Europe because it seems that we're possibly ahead of the trend. what can you tell us about what your company has done in Europe? And are there any new any exciting announcements about what you've been able to develop there?
Absolutely. So yeah, Europe, Africa, as well as South America is truly the next frontier for cannabis, as well as CBD extraction. I mean, 100, 150 years ago, we had the gold rush. You had folks clamoring up to the Klondike. We had folks exploring California in hopes of finding a gold nugget and striking it rich. Well, this really is the green rush. And we view, 2018 as we move into 2019 as a true staking opportunity. And International Cannabis Corp is committed to planting the ICC flag in as many international jurisdictions as we can. What does that mean? It means we evaluate assets on a daily basis, whether they're in South America, Europe, Africa, truly trying to find those undervalued assets that we can buy, build, and then eventually operate on a 12 to 18-month time horizon. Like I said, we have a very robust portfolio of cannabis assets. We're going to continue to buy and build over the next 4 to 12 months, and it's quite exciting times to explore these new jurisdictions.
Well, what would you say currently are your flagship assets right now?
Absolutely. It's a great question. So first and foremost, we hold one of 12 cannabis cultivation, storage, manufacturing licenses in the Kingdom of Denmark. Now, one of 12, it's pretty impressive, and we're in there with some great company. We joined some of our industry peers, such as Canopy, such as Aurora, such as the Supreme Cannabis Company, in holding these Danish cultivation licenses. We've just acquired a 55-acre land plot that's in a northern Danish town, and we're just embarking on breaking ground on a 473,000 square foot cannabis cultivation facility. That's a very, very impressive license to actually apply for and be granted. So we're tremendously proud about that. We're hopeful that Denmark is going to act as the Northern European cannabis cultivation engine for our distribution footprint. Now, I guess that now that we're on the distribution side, we have access to 35,000 plus pharmacies within the European Union. And that's through an exclusive agreement with one of our partners, a company by the name of Cosmos Holdings. Now, we're hopeful to, again, participate in that whole value chain of cannabis from cultivation all the way to distribution, and we're going to leverage this pharmacy footprint to do it. We also have access to 2,800 different corporate and independent pharmacies in South Africa. And I'm sure, both yourself and some of your viewers know, Dan, that about a month ago, South Africa actually legalized cannabis consumption and cultivation for adults. So that's something we applauded. That's something that's very exciting. And you know what? We look forward to leveraging that distribution footprint down there.
Now, something that is happening here, Lucas, behind the scenes that I want to get your thoughts on that a lot of people are not aware about is the fact that a lot of the strains that were developed that have been known to help with cancer and things of that nature and the extracts market were developed by cultivators here in Canada, namely in British Columbia, who have really developed this craft and given these strains a name. BC Bud is a globally recognized brand, and some would say that a lot of the mom and pops are somewhat being swept under the rug, and they're kind of being pushed over by big government. So is there anything that you guys are doing to ensure moving forward that this will be a free and fair market, truly for anybody to be able to get involved and play into this? And is there an interest to protect the mom and pops moving forward as well?
Well, it's a good comment. And I mean, Constellation Brands, about a year ago, they put $4 billion into Canopy. There have been some very material investments by multinational corporations. And there's a couple different reasons for that. I mean, first and foremost, it seems that they're realizing there's a tremendous amount of value within the CBD and the cannabis marketplace, and they want to establish some sort of foothold. Now, whether that's, rolling up different mom and pop shops, I do think that consolidation is going to be a big theme going forward in the Canadian cannabis industry. But when it comes to actually protecting the consumer and protecting those who have been involved in the industry for quite some time, I mean, we're focused on working with good people and doing fair deals. For instance, we're focused on pushing the industry forward. We just broke ground on our Colombian Cannabis Center of Excellence. Now, when you hear that, I'm hopeful that you and your viewers can think Microsoft or Apple Center of Excellence, whereby industry specialists, whether they're geneticists, whether they're master growers, whether they're any type of cannabis consultants, can come together in a collaborative environment and work on projects, revolutionary projects, whether it's new strains, whether it's new techniques, to ensure that we're optimizing the cannabis industry as a whole. But you know what? At the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of consolidation, and I do think some of these mom and pop shops are going to get rolled up, and that's just kind of an unfortunate aspect of the legalization.
Hmm. Well, on that note, where do you see this and your company moving forward, not just in the few coming months, but in the few years? What are some of the milestones that you hope to achieve moving forward?
Absolutely. I mean, our team, we evaluate new assets, new deals on a weekly basis. At the end of the day, we want to have a footprint in every international jurisdiction that is, basically conducive to operating cannabis assets in. At the end of the day, we want to be in Portugal. We want to be in Uruguay. We want to be in Italy. We want to be able to penetrate Africa. Africa has a great climate. It's very, very conducive to outdoor cannabis cultivation, whether it's hybrid or greenhouse hybrid cultivation plots. But when it comes to milestones, we're going to continue to deploy a buy and build strategy over the next 12 months. You're going to see some cannabis industry veterans, those who have made many successful exits from the Canadian cannabis industry, come on to the management team here, and then we're going to work towards operating them. Again, this is a staking rush. We're out there to plant the flag. And at the end of the day, it's a very exciting time. I mean, no one knows what the future holds, and we're trying to ensure that we afford our investors, our loyal investors, enough exposure to the international arena that they can actually benefit from this upside.
Well, currently in Canada, there's a couple of paths that people can go. There's the recreational model, and then there's the medicinal route. What side are you taking, or are you doing both? And is the focus more on recreational or more on medicinal? And how do you see the two playing off of one another?
Absolutely. Well, our focus right now is, the best answer I can give you is it depends. In a country such as Denmark, it is a medicinal focus. In a country such as South Africa, and within South Africa, there's a small little enclave country called the Kingdom of Lesotho. We hold a cannabis cultivation license there. So, I mean, it really depends. We're going to work with local council, with regional politicians, as well as those on the federal level, to ensure that we are working within their parameters. We're delivering products, we're establishing facilities, and we're playing within their rules. Now, my comments on the United States of America, everyone knows that they had their midterms last night. We saw Michigan legalize recreational cannabis. And I do think that over the next 2 to 5 years, you're going to see federal legalization. And I think it presents a very exciting opportunity. Jeff Sessions actually just resigned. And I think that's really going to pave the way towards recreational cannabis consumption in the United States of America. And that's going to be just a massive marketplace.
Well, if we've learned anything from the Portugal model, we find that crime rates are often reduced when we see a decriminalization. Have you seen any evidence of that? This is actually beneficial for society in the sense that crime rates, surprisingly, actually go down.
It's a very astute comment, and I am familiar with the Portugal model. But the case study that I would like to actually convey is out of Colorado. Now, again, to preface this, we don't have the data sets to make kind of conclusive comments. But over the last 5 years, cannabis consumption in Colorado has gone up as they legalize it on a recreational level. And we've actually seen a reduction in alcohol consumption as well as petty and violent crimes. Now, I'm unsure. It could be some sort of statistical outlier. We're going to have to see how the data sets actually develop. But it is very, very intriguing to me. And I look forward to kind of seeing in the next 5 to 10 years, what this industry is going to do to the world and the way we live.
Yeah, for sure. It's such an exciting time to be involved in this space. And as I said, everybody right now, from cultivators, producers, and investors are all looking at this right now. And now's the time to get involved, essentially. So if anybody is just learning about your company for the first time and they're interested in following you guys, learning more, what are some of the links? Where can they go to follow you and get involved with what you're doing?
Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, I would encourage everyone, whether there's an interest to learn more in our company or potentially invest, to visit our website. It's intlcannabiscorp.com. We are tri-listed. We trade up in Canada on the Canadian Securities Exchange. Our symbol is WRLD, as in world, because it is our mission and our vision to become the world's first vertically integrated pure cannabis company. We trade down south on the OTC bulletin boards. Our symbol is KNHBF, and we also trade over in Germany. It's truly a phenomenal opportunity to gain some international exposure to the cannabis space. I would encourage everyone to read our press releases, go back 8-12 months and see how we really evolved and developed the story. But at the end of the day, I mean, it could just be some exciting food for thought if people want to see what's going on in different jurisdictions pertaining to cannabis and CBD cultivation and extraction. So I appreciate your time, Dan. If you have no more questions, I'm a busy man. I got to get back to the laptop here, but thanks again.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to have all the links located in the description below, and I strongly encourage everybody to check it out, do their due diligence, and if you're interested in getting involved in this space, now's the time. Once again, Lucas Birdsall, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks again, Dan.